This is an issue about Batumi, the southern capital of Georgia. I think the walk will give you pleasure, because we will plunge into the city in as much detail as possible. Ahead on the channel are already following the early releases from Turkey and other cities of Russia, Georgia. So subscribe in advance and do not miss the latest videos. As expected, we will start with a simple introduction. The capital of Georgia, Batumi, is a resort on the Black Sea coast, with a population of 163,440 in 2018. In Batumi, the infrastructure for receiving tourists is well developed. Beaches are equipped here, many hotels and modern restaurants have been built. The history of Batumi begins before our era. Even in the time of Aristotle, a port operated on this site. In various sources, the city is also mentioned during the Georgian Golden Age, and this is the 12th, 13th century. The Turks, who captured Georgia in the 16th century, made a Turkish fortress on this place, which the Russian army liberated only at the end of the 19th century. Since 1921, Batumi has been part of the USSR, and after the collapse of the Soviet Union, it became part of Georgia. Sights of Batumi. The center of Batumi is the boulevard of the same name along the beach, which is 1.5 kilometers long. This is the most popular holiday destination not only among tourists, but also among local residents. There are many cafes, shops and, of course, a picturesque view of the sea. And from here you can see Batumi from a bird's-eye view by riding a Ferris wheel. The squares of the city are also visited by tourists, Batumi Piazza and Europe Square. From a tourist point of view, the northern half of the city is also interesting, where the Old Town area is located, the boundaries of which are Ninoshvili, Chavchavadze, Vazashevel streets and the port. The old city is divided in half by Baratashvili Street, and the most attractive part of the city for walking is from Baratashvili Street to the port. In the old city, you can simultaneously see the Orthodox Church of St. Nicholas, the Cathedral Church of the Nativity of the Blessed Virgin Mary, the Jewish synagogue, the Armenian Church of Serbikich, and you can also see the Muslim mosque or the Jam and the Greek church. As you can see, the cultural profile in this city is quite rich. Fans of cultural recreation should visit the museums of Batumi. The Georgian Art Museum is a collection of works by Russian and European artists of the 19th and 20th centuries, as well as local masters such as Niko Pirosmani and Elena Akvladiani. In the Nobel Museum you will learn about the historical milestones of Batumi in the late 19th, early 20th centuries. The Archaeological Museum offers to view a collection of household items and jewelry found in the area at different times. The Batumi Museum of Religion has a collection of 400 exhibits that will be of interest to people of various faiths. Of the sites frequently visited by tourists, we note the Nurigel and Erdagan lakes, as well as the May 6th Park and the Botanical Garden. Now we come to an interesting tower. This is the Alphabet Tower. The monument to the Georgian alphabet is a unique architectural structure located in the capital of Georgia, near the city beach. The monument, stretched up, resembles the structure of DNA. This similarity in architecture expresses the phrase "language is the genetic code of the nation." Tower height -130 meters. Together with the sculpture Ali and Nino, it belongs to the contemporary art of Georgia and forms a new image of Batumi in the so-called Park of Miracles area, where several more small sculptures are installed. The object is one of the most photographed sites and has no analogues in the world. The internal structure of the tower. The design is a building entwined with ribbons with 33 letters of the Georgian alphabet. Each letter has a height of 4 meters. The letters are made of aluminum. The internal structure of the tower is similar to the famous Shanghai one. There is a rod in the center of the tower, and the outer perimeter is surrounded by a DNA ribbon with letters. The outer and inner parts are connected by metal diaphragms in the form of stars every 10 meters. According to the first plan, the tower was supposed to be not only a monument, but also a functional structure. It was planned to open a TV studio, an observation platform, an observatory, and a restaurant rotating around its axis. Currently, only a restaurant operates in the building. But, according to tourists, it is often closed, the food there is not very tasty, and even the most straightforward items on the menu are quite expensive. If you do not plan to climb up, then you should come to the Georgian Alphabet Tower in the evening. The illuminated structure looks much more impressive than during the day. But we are already boldly moving along the embankment of the city, and ahead we see another interesting location. This is a Ferris wheel. The Ferris wheel in Batumi is located on the territory of the Miracle Park at the very beginning of the central embankment of the city on the Black Sea coast near the Ali and Nino sculpture, the Georgian Alphabet Tower, the Chacha fountain, the seaport and other attractions. The height of the Ferris wheel in Batumi reaches 55 meters, on which 40 open booths are installed, accommodating 240 people, and a full circle of rotation takes about 10 minutes.
Собака лежит и там лежит.
The visiting card of Batumi is the monument to Ali and Nino. The sculpture Ali and Nino, installed on the embankment of the resort city of Batumi, has become a symbol of love that can overcome boundaries and prejudices. The mobile installation embodies the idea of the magnetic attraction of a man and a woman and their unity despite life's difficulties. The artist and architect Mark Visididze was inspired to create a futuristic masterpiece by a novel attributed to the Azerbaijani writer Kurban said. The book is dedicated to the tragic fate of the Azerbaijani Muslim Ali Khan of Shirvanshah and the Christian, Georgian princess Nino Kipiani. A touching and beautiful story tells about the clash of different cultures and the immortality of love. The lovers went through many trials to be together, but in the final they had to leave due to the will of circumstances. The avant-garde moving monument symbolizes the eternal cycle of relationships, the desire for each other, a short moment of meeting and forced separation. Two figures 7 meters high are made of metal plates with gaps, which allows them to merge into one, and then separate and continue on their way alone. The mesmerizing action begins daily at 7 p.m. With the onset of dusk, multicolored neon lighting is turned on, creating spectacular variations of highlights and shadows on the installation and the sea surface. The driving cycle lasts 10 minutes. In the daytime, the frozen statues of a man and a woman become translucent against the sky. Previously, the pedestal was located at the very edge of the water, but because of the waves and splashes it began to collapse, so they decided to move the structure 50 meters deep into the boulevard. During the dismantling process, the cable broke and the steel structure fell into the sea. The reconstruction took several weeks, and now one of the sites of the city has taken its place again. The base was fenced with a transparent barrier. The sculptural composition earned recognition from art critics at the Venice Biennale and was included in the list of such top tourist destinations as 15 stunning sculptures that are hard to believe in existence and 10 most famous romantic monuments in the world. The model of the dynamic monument has been exhibited more than once in galleries in Europe and the USA and has gained worldwide fame. The author of the project is a native of Tbilisi. For some time, Mark Visididze lived in Italy, and then moved to America, where she now works and creates new artistic creations. Initially, the art object was called Man and Woman, but then received the names of the heroes of the love story. The novel, which became a bestseller in 1937, has been reprinted over 100 times in translations in 33 languages, and was filmed in 2015. The film was released under the title Ali and Nino and had its world premiere at the Sundance International Film Festival. In 2016, a performance based on the book was staged on the stage of the Russian Drama Theatre in Baku. The work of the director and actors caused rave reviews from viewers and critics. Now on the left side is the fountain of Chacha. A fountain from which real Chacha can flow is located on the embankment of the resort town of Batumi. The original building is a tower with a fountain. Chacha is a Georgian strong alcoholic drink made from mash on a fruit and berry base. Multi-degree Chacha belongs to the class of grape brandy. It is made both at home and in industrial production at factories. This drink is always present at Georgian feasts. It is not surprising that Chacha was chosen as the poured drink in the fountain. In 2011, the Georgian authorities received a patent for several traditional products, registering them as a national brand. This list, along with salagani cheese, kakapuri, churchkela and other dishes, also includes Chacha. Many tourists believe that the tower acquires the most beautiful view in the evening, when the backlight is turned on. The building is illuminated in different colors and looks impressive surrounded by other buildings of Batumi with illumination. You can wait until it gets dark and the lights on the buildings are lit in one of the restaurants located opposite the Chacha fountain.
Какой контраст. Кать, пройдем туда?
Old City of Batumi. The old town of Batumi is the most popular tourist area of the city. It was built up in the 19th century, and today it has been completely restored. It is this area that is considered the cultural and historical center of Batumi, where the most important sites of the city are concentrated. Architectural objects over 150 years old and modern buildings of bizarre shapes and various styles harmoniously coexist here. They are complemented by small cozy cafes, restaurants, shops and craftsmen's shops. Old Batumi has a large selection of luxury hotels, inexpensive hostels and guest houses. In general, if we talk a little about poverty in Batumi, then of course it exists. And you can see it on the streets. Starting from gypsy children, ending with beggars, the homeless and people with low incomes. I remembered once an interview with Georgian, a Georgian activist and businessman. Here is what he said about Batumi. In the area of the new Batumi, many Russians and Ukrainians bought apartments. Bought to rent. And they are not cheap for Georgia, from $800 to $1,200 per square. Such investors were promised that they would recoup their investments in 2-3 years. And now many people want to sell them. For them it's like a suitcase without a handle. The tourist season is only 3 months, and the rest of the time very good apartments can be rented for a maximum of $15 per day. In summer this price fluctuates around $60-70, but this is a maximum of 3 months per year. In the off-season, Batumi dies out. And this is a real fact. At the same time, The Georgians themselves cannot afford a high-rise apartment. In new buildings, entire floors are empty, supply significantly exceeds demand. The locals live very poorly, also from season to season. Their average salary is about 1,000 lari. In other words, it's about $350 a month. About a quarter of the population is begging, huddled in barracks without a roof. Yes, in fact, this is already visible if you drive around the city a little further than the usual walking streets with new buildings or Old Batumi. Here is such information. And it's hard to argue. There is a lot of poverty in Batumi. And this is an extreme contrast. Old City of Batumi on the map. The Old City is located in the north of Batumi, a few minutes walk from the Black Sea and the port. The northern border of the district is adjacent to Rustaveli Avenue, the western border is to Gajbashvili Street, the southern border runs along Chavchavadze Street, and the eastern border is adjacent to Baratashvili Street. The Old Town is adjacent to the Boni district, Rustaveli Avenue, Gorky and Chakvadze Streets. In general, I love all sorts of cities and have never seen a big city in which there would be nothing attractive at all. Well, except perhaps the Motivanbulti. In Batumi, the old city has been successfully reconstructed, and most of the remakes do not cause any rejection. Numerous bars and cafes have popped into these quarters, there are a lot of round-the-clock wine and grocery stores, exchange offices work. Tourists in the summer should not be overcrowded, but in winter no one will spoil the frame. Especially in the rain, and it always rains in Batumi in winter. The city authorities successfully reconstructed the streets, paving them with small cobblestones on the roadway and large granite tiles on the sidewalks. The sidewalks have been widened for the convenience of pedestrians. In general, Old Batumi is for people, not cars. They almost don't go into narrow alleys. There is nothing for them to do here. There is certainly something to work on, I will not hide. There is still a lot of work for Old Batumi, as well as for the whole city. Still, in some places there is what I call a homeless place or an untidy corner. But what to do, it is in many countries of the world. I wish Georgia and Batumi development and further economic growth. I have already mentioned that the reconstruction of the historical core of the city required the construction of some buildings from scratch, and some even became a symbol of Batumi, like this complex with a turret on Piazza Square. Of course, Piazza in Italian is a square, but the choice of toponym is reasonable. It refers to Italy, imitated by buildings. Although, to be honest, it would be better if there were more national in the names.
Это, ну... видно же? 50 на 50. Пойдем прямо. Да. Вот виноград когда туда свешивается или что это при стене? Хорошо видно, да?
Организация эмиграции.
Хотел. Прямо? Прямо? Кать.
And now we are going to the Piazza. Piazza Square is located in the heart of the old city on King Barnabas Street. It opened in 2010 after being renovated as part of the city's old neighborhood rehabilitation program. The author of the project was the Georgian architect Vlaza Orbladze, who decided to create a corner of Italy in the capital of Adjara. The result is something similar to Piazza San Marco in Venice. The Italian decorations fit perfectly into the historical part of the city. The facades of low houses on the square are decorated with stained glass paintings and mosaic patterns. Today Piazza is the largest venue for cultural events in the city, as well as a place with the best restaurants, bars and clubs in Batumi. The area is closed to traffic, so it is ideal for relaxing walks.
Ага, ага, вижу. Из кирпича? Обзаблился, конечно. Ох, обзаблился.
In Old Batumi there are many temples of different religions and confessions. There is, of course, a Georgian cathedral, a Russian one, an Armenian church, a mosque and a synagogue. Basically, everything was staged in the second half of the 19th century, like, in general, quarters as a whole. They are witnesses to the transition of Ankara from the Ottoman Empire to the Russian Empire. Right now we are passing by the Armenian Church. The Armenian Church is located in the old city area on Konstantin Gamsakardia Street. About 8,000 Armenians live in Batumi, and the Church of the Holy Christ the Savior is the main abode for the Armenian population. Like all similar structures, it is made of light stone, has a central tower and cone-shaped domes. Its distinctive feature is the presence of stone-carved crosses. There are 2 of them on the territory of the Batumi Temple. Also, the attention of tourists is attracted by the beautiful green garden around it.
этой улицы нет, неинтересно? Эта улица неинтересна тебе? Екатерина Вячеславовна. Екатерина Вячеславовна. Слышишь, да, как гибриды катаются?
Что?
Слышишь, как гибриды катаются? Да?
Лево?
Ага. Allah. Ау.
Я его иду на фиксированном поводке. Он просто сходит к краю и спрыгивает оттуда.
Случается такое.
But now we have reached an amazing iconic place. This is Europe Square. Europe Square is also located in the center of the old city near Stavely Avenue. It is named in honor of the entry of Adjara into the Assembly of European Regions. It is surrounded by main streets with quaint buildings decorated with mosaics, bas-reliefs and stained glass windows. The 130-meter gilded statue of Medea, installed in 2007 on the square, symbolizes Georgia's connection with the European world. Next to it is a small cozy fountain, running under the jets of which you remain completely dry.
Old Batumi. Собака идет. Девочка.
Ага.
There are many cafes and restaurants on the territory of the square. This place is increasingly becoming a venue for mass cultural events in the city. The landscape design of the area around the square is striking. Lawns with bright green evenly cut grass, bright flowers planted in intricate patterns, well-groomed palm trees and magnolias, decoratively decorated bushes, various sculptures that are among all this splendor. Along the square there are many benches for rest, from where you can contemplate all this beauty. Despite the huge number of people walking here, I would like to note the perfect cleanliness of the territory. In the evening, like everything else in Batumi, the square is transformed. All buildings are illuminated, the lanterns burn with warm light, the fountain shimmers with gold. You can admire the area for a long time and take pictures for memory. Each building is interesting and unique in its own way. As befits the status of the central square of the city, holidays, fairs, concerts, festivals, entertainment events are organized on the European Square, as well as films and videos are shot. European Square is good at any time of the day and in any weather. For the most part, the area is also a new building and also successful within its limits. Yes, somewhere it's too gingerbread and, it would seem, everything has to do with Georgia, but I liked it. I won't pretend to be an aesthete offended by uncharacteristic architecture. There are bad places and nuances, but in general terms there is something to catch the eye.
Направо.
Further along the course we have Batumi Theatre Square. This is one of the most beautiful and popular places in the resort city. During the day, the square is filled with excursion groups, and in the evenings, not only tourists, but also local residents gather here. There are benches for rest on the square, neat green bushes in the form of a labyrinth, palm trees and coniferous trees add comfort. The theater square got its name from the nearby city drama theater named after Chacha. The majestic facade of the theater in antique style is decorated with marble and gilding. The entrance to the theater is crowned with golden lions, but already different from the antique version. These are small copies of a lion figurine that was found in the Alazani Valley. The original in primitive style dates from the 3rd century BC. Among other architectural buildings around the square, 5-story houses with multicolored balconies stand out, a bright new building that dilutes the classical architecture. In the vicinity of the square there are one of the best hotels in Batumi, Radisson, casinos and restaurants for every taste, from McDonald's to establishments with national Georgian and local Algerian cuisine. You can also see the golden Neptune fountain. The hallmark of Theatre Square is, of course, this fountain. For the sculptural composition of the ancient god, the square is often called the Poseidon Square. The fountain is a sculpture of the Greek god Poseidon Neptune with a trident, surrounded by graceful sculptures of mermaids and marine life. The architectural style of the composition is Italian Renaissance. The figure of Neptune stands out with shining gilding, while the rest of the sculptures are made of bronze. Neptune crowns the fountain. It is located on a hill. Just below it, babies with marine life in their hands. Babies symbolize the great rivers of the world from different continents, the Ganges, the Danube, the Amazon and the Nile. Below the babies are figures of mermaids. It is because of these figures that the fountain is often called erotic. Thin jets of water gush from the breasts of mermaids. True, not all citizens like the gilded sculpture, made in the best traditions of antiquity. The fact is that earlier on this place there was a monument to Ilia Chavchavadze, an eminent Georgian poet and publicist, a fighter for the country's independence. At present, the monument to Ilia Chavchavadze is located behind the theater named after him, on the way to the port of Batumi.
Ну-ка встань еще раз так же.
As you can see, in the heart of Batumi, the concentration of attractions is over the top. Gigantic Ali and Nino look at each other a couple of blocks with Medea. The sky is propped up by futuristic casino towers, and below it is easy to get lost among the monuments. Against the background of tourist abundance, the building of the Batumi Drama Theatre, made in a restrained classical style, is somewhat lost. But if you get tired of grandiosity and endless gilding, be sure to look here. Here you will find sophistication and a touch of the living history of that genre. The performances are only in Georgian, but you can visit the museum, as well as admire the beautiful wall and ceiling paintings made by outstanding artists and referring to the national culture of the people of Georgia. Transport in Batumi. In Batumi, you can travel by bus, taxi and fixed-route taxi. Buses stop at special stops, where the inscriptions are duplicated in English. Fixed-route taxis do not have stops as such and stop at the request of a passenger. To do this, just wave your hand. There are official and unofficial taxis in Batumi, but there are no meters here, so you should agree with the driver about payment in advance. Or use applications like Yandex Taxi, where the final cost of your trip is already calculated. And in Batumi, bicycles are rented, and this is the best option for a tourist to see the Algerian capital far and wide. The Batumi bus station is located on Mayakovsky Street, near the stele next to the Catholic cathedral, and is open from 7 in the morning until midnight. From here, buses go both in Georgia and abroad, for example, to Iran or Turkey.
Блять, наебал и побежал.
The Arts and Music Center in Batumi is essentially the opera and ballet theater. The original architecture of the building made of glass and concrete attracts attention. The mosque, or a gem of the 19th century, attracts attention with a decoratively designed two-story building, the facade of which overlooks a street with a landscaped square. The May 6th Park is famous for its huge old tree, which was planted by the Russian Tsar Alexander III during his visit to Batumi. It is worth visiting the local botanical garden, which has unique plants from all over the world. While in Batumi, do not forget to also organize an excursion to ancient sites in the vicinity of the city. For example, visit Nagonio Fortress and the Mterala National Park, which can be reached through Shakvi. Maykuntseti waterfall is located in the mountains of Adjara, 30 kilometers from Batumi. It attracts many tourists who are not averse to swimming in its cold waters. Well, on this we will say goodbye to you. Be sure to rate this video, recommend it to your friends, and forward it to each other. This will help the video rank better in YouTube searches. Well, as always, leave your comments under the video. Be sure to write how you liked or not the city of Batumi, and Georgia in general. What are your memories of this city? And we will definitely see you in the new releases on the channel soon. Be sure to subscribe and rate. See you.